Was it Brother Michael or Brother
It
Matthew?
was Brother Michael.
Oh, well, Brother Michael, let's call him that. He fell to his death. I'm not sure when. I think it was in the 1920s.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently he's decided, and a couple of the other brothers have decided not to leave, just because the living Jesuits left, they weren't going to leave. And you know, Jesuit brothers, you know what the Jesuits are, kind of a religious faith. And I don't know what happened to the Jesuits thereafter. But the building stood empty for many years, and the funny thing is, it was never vandalized. That chapel stayed empty. Now you've got a chapel with beautiful stained glass windows.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful chapel, beautiful stained glass windows. You even had confession booth where the boys, and not one person of the public put a stone through those stained glass windows, which is most unusual. And then people started using the building for different purposes, and in the 70s and 80s, the narcotics squad, who had to be separate from the rest of the police, they had a little office at the back, and that was their headquarters. And I was speaking to one officer who was in the narcotics squad at that time. They said every time they came to work on Monday, there would be a huge pentagram drawn on the courtyard in front of their offices, with candles at each point and each intersection, and sometimes a little dead black kitten in the middle.
Wow. Okay, so and I'm going to assume that this is done by living people?
That was done by living people. They suspected.
Okay.
They didn't have CCTV in those days or anything, so that's what he said to me. And then shortly thereafter it was converted into a hotel, which I thought was a very good move. Unfortunately the hotel didn't work, but a lot of money was spent on it, and they actually made it a very nice establishment. And down at the bottom, I think it would have been the basement, just to the left of the stairs, that was turned into the restaurant and bar. And it was being run by a chap called Duncan Paulson at the time, and he would tell me that at the bar, you know how people are at the bar, you get off your bar stool when you need another drink or whatever. You get off, you get off, put your drink down, do what you have to do and sit back on your bar. You don't really look at the stool. Old pub people like me, know this very well. And some occasions a fellow would sit back and then go flying, and go sprawling on the floor, much to the delight of the other patrons. First time it happened, it was very funny. After a while, he took away the bar stools altogether. Something was just gently moving them back.
Yeah. So hold on, would that be a malevolent ghost, or someone just with a sense of humour?
I would say it was a ghost with a sense of humour.
Okay.
However, they could get pretty malevolent. For the one time, Duncan Paulson had to cater for some soiree or whatever. And he spent the whole of the day before the soiree preparing the canapes and all the dishes and the soups and the consommes and all that. And then behind the kitchen there was a cauldron where he stored everything, and to get to the cauldron he unlocked the gate, unlocked the cauldron door, closed the cauldron door, locked it, closed the gate, click, locked the gate, and then went to the kitchen, locked the kitchen door, and went home for the night. All he had to do was deliver the stuff.
Yeah.
The next morning he opened the kitchen door, unlocked the kitchen door, unlocked the gate, unlocked the cauldron door, and to find everything was trashed. There was soups on the ceiling, and everything was just trashed. All his work. Now nobody could have gotten into there. The alarm never sounded.
Okay, so it's obviously someone throwing a tantrum. Yeah?
Somebody throwing a tantrum. Yeah.
Okay, so this is at St. Aidan's.
That is St. Aidan's along the... And when Mark Rose Christie and I were doing a ghost tour there, we went to that little room there was a cellar, an attic at the top of the gable, the one gable, and it's got a little lancet window. You know what a lancet window is, a pointed window. And there we were explaining about the various ghosts ghosts that happened there. Suddenly this weird feeling, which I actually know so well, it's unreal, surreal, frightening experience. And we just saw this misty thing just shoot across in front of me, in front of all the guests on the tour. But it wasn't a nice feeling. That was a kind of a malevolent feeling.
And it wasn't a ghost on speed. It was an actual.
It was.
I mean, goat. Sorry,
it wasn't a ghost.
Goat.
It was, and at the same time, something in the bar area, something smacked old Duncan across the head, and a couple of bottles of booze just tumbled from the.
How long ago was this?
This was, when did we stop the ghost tours? This was about maybe 10 years ago.
10 years.
After that, the Department of Education took it over, and so we can no longer, sadly, use it for ghost tours anymore.
Oh, that sucks.
It sucks, but you can see it from the outside.
Yeah.
And I went one evening, I had to park there for some odd reason, and I went to the security people at the gate. And I said, listen guys, have you ever experienced anything weird here? Their eyes went wide, and you? And they started talking. And apparently they see figures wandering around that area, that courtyard, that car park, quite frequently. And when they approach them, being good security guards, disappear.
They disappear.
And on one occasion, they reckon they saw a large cat that also disappeared when they just like that.
I've heard about the cat. There's a cat and grandson ghost cat that sort of like walks and meows and it's gone.
Yeah.
My cat does that too. Anyway, so what else can you tell me about the brothers? I mean, what went on that someone was either killed or jumped?
You know, we don't know, because they were a very secretive bunch, as they would be. You know, religious order generally likes to keep their squabbles internal.
And which tower was it? Was it the one closest to Miller Street or further back?
The one closest to Miller Street, the one right next door to the chapel.
Oh wow! So he would have landed like right there.
Yeah, because the landing areas are actually a bit below the street level, basement level. There's a kind of a what would one call it architecturally, where
I have no idea.
Yeah, but anyway, you've got the basement level, and then there's a kind of a well type thing where you can go and sit down and relax or have a poetry reading or whatever, and that was at the foot of the tower, so he still had an extra 3 meters to fall.
What would happen, in your opinion, if someone were to, I don't know, look for trouble with these ghosts?
I cannot say. I would not advise it. I would not advise people trying to conjure up ghosts or draw them in. When I hear of people doing Ouija boards or glassy or whatever you want to call it, I go cold.
Why?
Letting yourself wider open to all sorts of nasty things, and then we enter into the realms of demonology, which I know nothing about, and the nothing I know is probably too much for me. You know, I don't want to go.
So guys, don't mess with this stuff. If you don't know it, don't mess with it.
Don't mess with it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, and we'll see you next week. And
absolutely.
I'm buzzing to hear about the ghosts at the law.
Oh, they're sweet.
Are they sweet?
Oh, there's some very nice ghosts there.
They're boring. Anyway, thanks, man. We'll catch you again soon.
Sure.
Thanks. There you go. That's simple.